They told us the Tropicana was a one-time thing. 67 years of history, bulldozed for a baseball stadium. Sad, but unique. Special circumstances won't happen again. They told us the Mirage closure was unexpected. Hard Rock buying in, Volcano going dark, another piece of old Vegas disappearing. A shame, but lightning doesn't strike twice. They lied. It's striking again, right now. Across the Strip, 5 more hotels on the Las Vegas Strip are showing the same warning signs. The same deferred maintenance that preceded every closure. The same corporate neglect that turns a struggling property into a doomed one. The same slow march toward the bulldozers that we've seen before and refused to recognize until it was too late. These aren't rumors I picked up from a bartender. These are patterns. Financial patterns, operational patterns. The same red flags that appeared at Tropicana and Mirage months before the announcements dropped. Patterns don't lie, corporations do, but their balance sheets tell the truth. Today, I'm counting down 5 Strip properties that are closer to closure than most tourists realize. Some of these names will surprise you. Some have been hiding their decline behind fresh paint and famous brands. Some are so far gone that locals won't step foot inside and tourists only stay because they don't know any better. By the end of this video, you'll know which hotels to avoid on your next trip, and which ones to visit now before they're reduced to a pile of rubble and a press release about exciting new developments. If you're new here, I expose what's really happening behind the neon. Not the Instagram version, not the tourism board fantasy, the financial decay that determines which buildings survive and which ones get erased. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, because your next Vegas trip might depend on knowing what I'm about to tell you. Let's start with number 5. A property that's supposed to be the gateway to the Strip. The welcome mat for millions of tourists arriving from the airport. The first impression of Las Vegas for visitors from around the world. And it's rotting from the inside out. Number 5. Horseshoe Las Vegas. You might remember this property by its old name, Bally's. That curving tower that's been standing on the Strip since 1973, over 50 years old now. A few years ago, Caesars Entertainment decided Bally's needed a refresh, a new identity, something with more gambling credibility. So they rebranded it, slapped the Horseshoe name on the building. The Horseshoe, a brand with genuine Vegas history, a name that means something to serious gamblers. They called it a renovation. It wasn't. What they actually did was change the signs, update the logo, spend money on marketing instead of maintenance. The bones of this building are still 50 years old. The rooms feel older. That specific mustiness of a property that's been absorbing cigarette smoke and spilled drinks since Nixon was president. Walk the casino floor on a Tuesday night. Listen to the echo. Count the empty blackjack tables. Feel that hollow energy of a property running at half capacity, staffed by employees who know the ship is sinking. The Horseshoe name is supposed to mean authenticity, old Vegas credibility. What you actually get is dated rooms, exhausted carpet, and the overwhelming sense that Caesars is managing this property for cash extraction, not guest experience. And here's the thing about Caesars Entertainment. They're drowning in debt, billions of dollars, interest payments that come due every single month whether the properties are full or empty. When you're that leveraged, you can't save everything. You have to choose. You have to triage. Some properties get investment, some properties get harvested. The Horseshoe is being harvested. But at least Horseshoe has location going for it. Center Strip, right on Las Vegas Boulevard, prime real estate that gives it some protection. Number 4 doesn't even have that excuse. It's a property that Caesars seems to have simply forgotten exists. Number 4, the Linq Hotel and Experience. This property has an identity crisis so severe it should be in therapy. Is it a party hotel, a family destination, a budget option for visitors who can't afford the Bellagio, a lifestyle brand for millennials who want Instagram content? Caesars doesn't seem to that specific beige experience of a hotel that's given up trying to impress anyone. The amenities feel like afterthoughts. Boxes checked on a corporate requirements list. Pool? Check. Fitness center? Check. Any reason to actually use them? Missing. The whole property exists in a strange limbo. Not cheap enough to be a genuine value play, not nice enough to justify what they're charging. Stuck in the middle, satisfying no one. Walk outside to the Linq Promenade, that pedestrian corridor connecting the Strip to the high roller observation wheel. It's packed, it's vibrant, people everywhere. Then look at the hotel those people are walking past, the building they're ignoring on their way to somewhere better. That's the Linq's future, increasingly irrelevant. A structure people pass through, not a destination they choose. 2 Caesars properties already, both on this list, both showing signs of terminal neglect. That's not a coincidence, that's a pattern. Caesars Entertainment is carrying somewhere around $12 billion in debt. $12 billion. That's a number so large it stops meaning anything until you realize what it forces them to do. When a company is that leveraged, properties become sacrificial. The weak get harvested so the strong can survive. Resources flow to the Caesars, Palaces, and Paris Las Vegas while the Horseshoes and Linq slowly starve. And the next 3 hotels on this list? They're weaker than you think. Including one that's been a strip icon for over 30 years. A building you'd recognize instantly, a name that still appears on bucket lists around the world. That property might not survive the decade. Let me show you why. The first 2 were Caesars properties, both neglected, both showing signs of corporate triage. But if you think MGM treats its older hotels any better, you haven't been paying attention. MGM Resorts has its own problems. Its own debt, its own portfolio of aging properties that don't fit the luxury image they're trying to project. And 2 of those properties are further gone than most tourists realize. Number 3, the Luxor. You know this building. Everyone knows this building. That black glass pyramid rising from the south, Strip, the Sphinx out front. The beam of light shooting from the apex into the night sky so bright you can see it from space. When the Luxor opened in 1993, it was a marvel of engineering. The largest atrium in the world, inclinators riding the pyramid's angles instead of traditional elevators, a design so ambitious, so audacious, it redefined what a Las Vegas casino could be. For a few years, the Luxor was the future. Now it's a prison. Here's the problem with building a pyramid. You can't renovate it. Those angled walls that look so dramatic in 1993, they make modern room layouts impossible. You can't install the floor-to-ceiling windows guests expect now. You can't create the open bathroom concepts that define luxury. You can't do anything that requires straight walls because there are no straight walls. The inclinators that seem so innovative, they're maintenance nightmares. Custom equipment that costs a fortune to repair. Parts that have to be specially manufactured because nothing else on Earth works at that angle. The Luxor's greatest feature became its fatal flaw. The very thing that made it special now makes it obsolete, and MGM knows this. Walk through the Luxor today, you can feel them giving up. The rooms inside the pyramid feel dated in a way that goes beyond cosmetic. That trapped air of a building that can't breathe properly. Hallways that tilt at angles your brain never quite adjusts to. The sense that you're staying in a novelty, not a hotel. The tower rooms, the ones in the more traditional buildings they added later, are marginally better. But even those feel neglected. Tired furniture, worn carpet, the accumulated exhaustion of a property that stopped receiving investment years ago. MGM is milking the Luxor for whatever cash remains. Waiting for the math to flip, waiting for the day when that pyramid-shaped plot of land is worth more empty than occupied. But the Luxor at least has architectural interest. That pyramid still draws tourists who want the photo. The beam of light still creates a spectacle. Number 2 has nothing. No iconic silhouette, no engineering marvel, no reason to exist except inertia and the fact that demolition paperwork takes time. It's a property MGM has clearly decided isn't worth saving. And if you've walked through it recently, you already know which one I'm talking about. Number 2, Excalibur. The castle. The turrets. The drawbridge. That medieval fantasy theme that made sense in 1990 when themed casinos were the future of Las Vegas. It's 2025. The future moved on. Excalibur didn't. I walked that casino floor 2 months ago. Let me tell you exactly what I saw. Carpet with stains that have developed their own ecosystems. Not small stains. Sprawling discolorations that tell you water damage happened here and nobody fixed it. They just let it dry and hoped you wouldn't notice. Slot machines so old the buttons are worn smooth from decades of fingers. Screens flickering with graphics that look dated during the Bush administration. The first Bush administration, a food court that feels like a bus station in a dying Midwestern city. That specific fluorescent grimness of a place that's given up trying. And the smell. In certain hallways, that smell hits you. Mildew, that damp signature of water infiltration being managed instead of repaired. Moisture creeping through walls, through ceilings, through systems that should have been replaced 20 years ago. Excalibur isn't being maintained, it's being sustained. Just enough investment to keep the doors open, just enough repair to avoid code violations. The absolute minimum required to continue extracting cash from tourists who don't know any better. And here's what makes Excalibur's situation even more dire. Look at a map. Look at where Excalibur sits. Right at the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Tropicana Avenue, the same intersection where the Tropicana Hotel just got demolished. The same corner that's about to become a massive construction zone. That's not a coincidence. That's an opportunity. Think about what MGM controls on that corner. Excalibur, Luxor right next door, Mandalay Bay on the other side. 3 connected properties, 1 massive footprint, all linked by trams and walkways and shared infrastructure. Now think about what just happened across the street. The Tropicana is gone. That entire site is being redeveloped. Billions of dollars flowing into the South Strip. The neighborhood is about to transform. MGM is watching. MGM is calculating. They see what the Tropicana land sold for. They see what developers are willing to pay for prime strip frontage. They're running the numbers on their own aging properties. And those numbers are telling them something very clear. Excalibur goes first. That's the bet. A castle-themed casino from 1990 sitting on land worth more than the building. Minimal renovation potential. Theme that's hopelessly dated. Guest experience that's actively deteriorating. Then maybe Luxor follows. That pyramid finally comes down. The architectural marvel that became an architectural millstone. What rises in their place? A massive unified development, modern towers, contemporary design, the kind of project that only makes sense when you control multiple adjacent properties, which MGM does. The Tropicana's demolition wasn't an ending, it was a starting gun. The dominoes are lined up, and Excalibur is wobbling. Horseshoe, the Linq, Luxor, Excalibur. 4 properties showing every sign of terminal decline, 2 from Caesars, 2 from MGM. Both companies running the same playbook, both choosing which buildings live and which buildings die. But the #1 hotel on this list isn't just declining, it's already in crisis. A property so troubled that even casual tourists are starting to notice. Reviews turning toxic, reputation crumbling in real time. And the name? The name will break your heart. Because it's the property that started everything, the birthplace of the Las Vegas Strip. The hotel that Bugsy Siegel built now being slowly strangled by the company that inherited it. 5 more strip hotels on the brink. Number 1, the Strip Hotel, closest to the brink. The property showing more warning signs than any other on this list. It's not a budget casino on the edge of the action. It's not some forgotten tower that tourists overlook. It's the Flamingo Las Vegas. Bugsy Siegel's dream, the casino that invented the Strip, the property that proved you could build a luxury resort in the middle of the Nevada desert and people would come. 80 years of history. 80 years. In a city where buildings get demolished after 30, the Flamingo has been standing for nearly a century. Frank Sinatra performed here. The Rat Pack made this place legendary. Every major figure in Las Vegas history has walked through those doors. This isn't just a hotel, this is the hotel, the one that started everything, and Caesars Entertainment is letting it fall apart. Walk through the Flamingo today. Not the pool area, they keep that maintained because it photographs well. Not the wildlife habitat with the flamingos, that's the Instagram moment they need to protect. Walk through the towers, the hallways, the rooms where paying guests actually sleep, that's where you see the truth. The Flamingo's rooms feel like time capsules from an era nobody asked to revisit. Furniture that was outdated when Clinton was president. Bathrooms with fixtures yellowing from age. Carpet patterns chosen specifically to hide stains and failing at that job now. The walls are thin, you hear everything, your neighbors' conversations, their television, their arguments, their everything. The air conditioning units groan and rattle. That mechanical death rattle of equipment that should have been replaced a decade ago but keeps getting patched instead. And the smell in certain hallways. That damp, organic signature of water damage being managed instead of fixed. Mildew establishing colonies in places housekeeping can't reach. The oldest operating hotel on the Strip feels exactly like what it is, a building that's been standing too long without enough love. But here's what makes the Flamingo situation truly tragic. This isn't neglect from ignorance. Caesars knows exactly what they're doing. They're running a calculation. a cold, corporate calculation that weighs the Flamingo's brand value against its land value. And every year, that calculation gets closer to flipping. The Flamingo name has value, enormous value. 80 years of history, global recognition, the birthplace mythology that no other casino can claim, marketing power that money can't buy. But that brand value has a ceiling, and the land value has no ceiling. The Flamingo sits on prime center strip real estate, acres of Las Vegas Boulevard frontage in the heart of the action. Land that developers would pay billions for if the building weren't sitting on it. So Caesars runs the numbers. Every quarter, every year. How much can we extract from the Flamingo while investing? The math flips. The cost of maintaining the fiction exceeds the revenue. The brand damage becomes irreversible. The land value so exceeds the building value that demolition becomes the obvious choice. That point is approaching, faster than Caesars wants to admit, faster than tourists realize. The reviews are already turning. Outdated, disappointing, not worth the price. The words that kill hotels appearing more frequently every month. The Flamingo isn't dead yet, but it's on life support, and the people controlling the plug are accountants, not preservationists. They don't care about Bugsy Siegel. They don't care about the Rat Pack. They care about quarterly earnings and debt service ratios. History doesn't show up on a balance sheet. 5 hotels, 2 corporations, 1 pattern. Caesars with the Horseshoe, the Linq, and the Flamingo. MGM with the Luxor and Excalibur. Both companies drowning in debt. Both choosing which properties live and which properties die. Both running the same playbook of extraction and abandonment. This is what Las Vegas has become. A city where corporate debt determines which memories survive. Where private equity firms and Wall Street analysts decide which buildings get investment and which ones get harvested. Where the question isn't, what do guests want? But what do shareholders demand? The 5 hotels on this list aren't failing because tourists stopped coming. They're failing because their owners decided they're worth more dead than alive. That's the new Las Vegas math. Land value versus building value. Brand equity versus demolition profit. History versus the spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet is winning. So consider this video a warning. If any of these hotels mean something to you, if you have memories there, if your parents took you there, if these names carry weight in your personal history, the window is closing. The Flamingo might not survive the decade. Excalibur might not survive the next 5 years. The dominoes are lined up. Visit now. Take the photos. Say goodbye while you still can. Because the Las Vegas you remember, the one your parents told you about, the one from the movies and the songs and the mythology, that Las Vegas is being demolished. One balance sheet decision at a time. One quarterly earnings report at a time. Hit subscribe if you want to know which property falls first. I'm watching the filings, the permits, the real estate transactions, the signals that tell you what's coming before the press releases drop. Drop a comment. Which hotel on this list surprises you most? Which one did you think was safe? Which one breaks your heart? Because the bulldozers don't care about our memories. They only care about the math. And right now, the math says 5 more icons are on borrowed time. I'll see you in the next one.